Greetings, beautiful Earthlings. My name is Star. If you are new here, I don't know how you found me, but I'm super grateful to have you. And if you are returning, y'all the real MVP, you already know. So it got a little dark on me while I was filming, like really fast. And so you guys get the fancy light on this one. I hope it's not too distracting for you. And I just wanted to do a quick little video to tag on to the last one that I made, which was talking about like precursor to beginning tarot questions type of video. And I did mention in there that I had done a write-up on methods of cleansing and charging your deck, which do and do not include like cost efficient solutions, I guess you would say. So I just wanted to make like a quick little video on that one. So if you guys are finding this video for the first time, check out my link tree in the description below. Follow me across all socials. Please check out my Adopted Tarot and Oracle deck listing. Please help me get my Tarot and Oracle decks to good homes. And all of that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. I want this one to be a quick one for you. So if you guys are brand new to tarot and you don't quite know how to cleanse or charge your deck just yet, and you're kind of running into the same information on the internet, I think I should have a couple of things for you that were taught to me in confidence, I would say, that I have never found across the internet, like things that were taught to me by actual seasoned witches of methods they found that also work for them of cleansing and charging their deck, which require no tools or low tools at that. And I just always wanted to share this information. I don't know why I never made a video about this, because I know a lot of people, especially beginners, are always going to be told the same thing, which is to cleanse your deck with sage. And I am so over that information, because if you are just beginning and you are just getting into the world of tarot, you probably don't know that white sage is a closed practice, and it has been asked many times by the Native Americans for us to not use white sage. That is theirs. They have claim to it. If it wasn't given to them by someone on native land, we shouldn't be using it. And you know, a lot of people have their ideas on how they feel about that, but for more experienced witches, when someone says don't touch it, we don't touch it. And I want to make that very clear to a lot of beginners that sage and Palo Santo have kind of been phased out, and the idea of smudging as well is not ours to take. If you are not of Native American bloodlines, if you know, didn't get it from a Native American on their reservation and were given the permission to use this thing, they don't want us using it. And that's okay, because first of all, so many different types of sage exist. We can grow different types of sage in our areas and utilize those things. We can use so many different herbs for smoke cleansing, dude, and there's no reason to say the word smudging if it's not our practice, right? So I want to make that very clear. If you're a beginner and you have been told that the only way to cleanse your deck is to smoke cleanse it with sage, please don't do that. Please stop buying sage, especially from little gift shops in the mall. You're pissing off a lot of Native American ancestors, and I don't think that that's how you want to start off your practice. So I'm going to give you guys methods of cleansing which do not require smoke cleansing, but smoke cleansing is the first one on the list because a lot of people have something to say about smoke cleansing. So if you do like smoke and smoke cleansing, you can use incense, right? There are so many different types of incense. Like frankincense personally is my favorite because it is both cleansing and protective, and a lot of spirits that I work with really love frankincense. So I love having frankincense on hand, but a good dragon's blood is also very helpful for cleansing and protecting. But if you really like the idea of using herbs for smoke cleansing, and you don't want to do it as an incense, right, on some coal, and, you know, do like a whole big smoke ritual, you can always have bundles of herbs and still smoke cleanse. We don't call it smudging because it's not smudging if we're not Native American, but you can use things like rosemary, juniper, like a whole ridiculous slew of herbs that are not white sage to do these things, okay? The next one that I'm going to suggest, which is not smoke cleansing, which does not involve any kind of smoke, because one, smoke cleansing in the house with pets is dangerous, and you shouldn't be doing that. I hope you guys know that. You shouldn't be lighting incense if you have pets in the house. Also, if you have babies, or if you have people in your house with asthma, things like that, you shouldn't be doing it in the house. Go take it outside. It's not that big of a deal. But if you feel weird or embarrassed doing your smoke cleansing outside, you should figure out another method of cleansing your tarot deck, okay? So, one that is very common is sound cleansing, using some type of bells or chimes. If you have little wind chimes, I personally love wind chimes, like the really small ones with the really tinkly sound. I love those, and I love the energy that they bring into a space. So I have lots of bells. I have bells on all my doors. I have bells all over the place, and I've always given my child bells to let her just cleanse my space and cleanse everything. But I personally love using bells to cleanse things. If you have like a sound bowl, you can use that for cleansing. You can use it over the thing. You could put the thing in the bowl, right? You can also use sound cleansing like frequency music. If you want to put that on over your speakers or on your phone or something like that, you can always use that and ask those the sound, the music, the frequency to cleanse whatever it is you're trying to cleanse. Tuning forks, gongs, there's so many tools that can be used in terms of sound cleansing, and sound has been scientifically proven to manipulate molecules. If you guys are those types of people that are looking for scientific evidence for certain things, that's a fun one to look into, is sound healing and stuff like that. It's backed by science. It has been proven, and it's very cool to observe that type of recording that they have. Another one that's really, really good and doesn't cost anything is knocking with intention. So if you have a deck of cards, I have like one random one here, you can just... And the thing is, we use this in tarot for two reasons. One, cleansing, or two, waking up the deck. So sometimes what I like to do, this is just like a little refresher for decks for me personally, because I do still go out of my way to cleanse them when I feel like they are getting a little mucky. But whenever I am first picking up a deck for a reading or something, I will do that to wake up the deck. But if you feel like as you're going through the reading that it is getting a little mucky, or that you do need a little help, like shaking the vibes off of the deck to wake it back up or re-energize it, you can do that and say cleanse or reset when you do it. So I will, in a reading, go reset or cleanse. You can also do wake up if you'd like, things like that. Just make sure that the intention is there, because if you're just knocking on the deck with no intention, it's not really going to do anything. It might, but you don't know what you're doing in that sense. So a really good one is cleansing stones, but I use this method lightly because I don't like pushing beginners to buying things, especially not crystals, especially not if you're not ready for crystals, right? So a good one to use all the time is selenite. I have selenite everywhere. Literally everywhere, in every bag, in every deck. I have it on all the doors. I have it on all my altars. A little stick of satin spar. Don't be deterred by the fact that satin spar is so cheap and so abundant. It's pretty much the best, cheapest, most accessible cleansing crystal you can utilize. It is like a nice little filter for the energy. You can keep these in your tarot bags with your deck like I do. Just be aware that satin spar is a flaky crystal, and it will flake off, and you will get it in the bag, and you will get it all over your cards, and that's okay. Some people don't like that. Just be aware of that if you are brand new to this. Other cleansing crystals, which are self-cleansing, like selenite, like satin spar, are kyanite. So there are different kinds of kyanite, and I think it's important to learn which one works best for you, your energy, and your intentions, because I personally work really well with blue selenite. I personally don't work so well with black selenite. Blue kyanite. I don't know if I said blue selenite. But I don't work so well with black kyanite. It's a little too like strong for me. It kind of rattles me a little bit. And it's important to be careful of these self-cleansing stones you are using for things like cleansing or charging your deck, because certain stones like tektites are self-cleansing. However, that might not be the energy you want to be cleansing your deck with, or infusing your deck with, or even having in your space, especially if you are a beginner. So be careful when it comes to looking up self-cleansing stones, because selenite or satin spar is very beginner friendly. It's everybody friendly. It's pretty much the best thing you can use all the time. But if you are drawn to like moldavite because it's a tektite and it's a cool space rock and things like that, but you choose to use it as a cleansing stone and put it in your deck because someone told you it's a self-cleansing stone and nothing else about it, you might want to do some research on things like that, especially when it comes to bringing stones into your space, especially if you are very new to bringing stones in your space. Okay. Next one that I have is liminal spaces, like windowsills. So something that a lot of people don't know is that windowsills are very good for cleansing and charging your deck. Now, again, you do have to set the intention. You can just set it and forget it, but you don't really know if it's doing anything. If you feel like if it's doing something cool, great, awesome. If you don't, that's probably why. You got to set the intention. Intention is everything in witchcraft. If you don't know that, you have to set the intention. Even with your stones, you have to tell it, cleanse my deck, cleanse the energy of my deck, cleanse the energy of this space, things like that. You have to program your crystals. And a lot of people will say the crystal will tell me what it wants to do, and that's fine. If you can communicate with your crystal and understand that, that's a whole different situation. But for beginners who don't know that, you still have to program your crystals. You still have to set your intentions. So with liminal spaces like a windowsill, you can just set the deck on your windowsill for however long you would like. Okay, if you want to just set it there overnight, if you want to set it there for 3 days, if you want to set it there for a week, if you want to leave it and forget about it until the next time you do a reading. However you want to do that. Be aware, one, that it's there, especially if you have blinds. Don't knock your deck all over the place, because you will. But you can also take a little piece of selenite, put it on top of your deck while it's in the windowsill. So you can use this to cleanse the energy, use the windowsill to charge the energy, something like that, right? And another really good thing that I personally like to use, again, this is kind of touchy on the methodology, is Florida water. Understand that most tarot decks are made out of paper cardstock. Okay, so don't go dunking your cards in water because Auntie Star said you can. No, I didn't. When it comes to something like cleansing water, if you are not using plastic cards, okay, plastic cards, yes, use all the water you want. But if you are not using plastic cards, what you can do is get like a tarot cloth, like a special, you could get a regular old handkerchief, right? 99-cent handkerchief from the Dickies store, or you could use any type of little blankie that you have, any type of like shirt that's really soft, right? Something you really like. Dedicate it specifically to that tarot deck. Spray the shirt itself, let it air out for a second, and then ask it to create a space of cleansing for the tarot deck, right? Create a space of cleansing and charging while I wrap the deck in this. Now, you can put a stick of selenite on it while it's in there and stick it on a windowsill if you want to. If you want to do all of these things together, you can. If you want to do any of these things by themselves, you can. There is no right or wrong way to do any of this, but these are all just options, right? Using Florida water on your hands, you can do that. before you do a reading, or using like a dragon's blood soap is also really good for spiritual cleansing of your hands, just to make sure that you're not bringing anything to the reading or to that deck. You can always do that as well. If you do not have those things, use regular old soap and water, baby. You can use some salt water if you want. Just put some salt in some warm water, mix it together, pour it on your hands, say, please cleanse my aura, please cleanse me of any negative energy, charge my energy to be receptive to this reading, or whatever your intentions are. Okay, now next one I have here is sigils. Sigils are super fun, but they do take work, they do take research, they do take practice. However, what I love about sigils is that they're free and they work for you. So if you are the type of girly, I say girly again, this could mean anybody. I just, like, when I think Pinterest girlies, right? If you're the type of girly that goes on Pinterest looking for sigils, be careful, because you don't know what that sigil is. You don't know what they actually charged it with. Just because they say it's a cleansing sigil doesn't mean that it necessarily is, or protective, etc. I personally wouldn't work with any sigils off of Pinterest unless I personally felt a really deep connection to them. I think I've only pulled a handful off of there. There is also some type of sigil creator website. If you just look up like sigil creator engine or something like that, it pops up. You write your intention on it and it generates a sigil for you. If I can remember in editing, I'll put the actual website there so that you guys can utilize that. I use that for everything. That's the easiest way to make sigils if you're not the type of person that can pull sigils from meditation or working with your spirits. Because personally, when I try to make sigils in the methods that people teach you to make sigils, I never connected with any of those sigils that I made. But if I'm given a sigil by a spirit, I'm more connected to it. But that little sigil generator website thing has been extremely helpful because I feel they are more personalized. Remember, you do have to activate your sigils. You do have to forget about your sigils. So take that with a grain of salt when it comes to working with sigils. But I don't mean put the sigil on a deck, okay? I mean put the sigil on a piece of paper, put the deck on the piece of paper. You could put the deck on the piece of paper in a windowsill, or you could put the piece of paper in the deck box, or in the bag that you're using, or in your handy dandy tarot cloth sprayed with Florida water, right? Again, all of these methods can be mixed in any which way. I do personally spray all of my tarot bags with that Florida water mixture that I have. I put herbs in my Florida water, so I have to have like an industrial strength spray bottle to do that. But I use whatever herbs I feel called to at the time when I'm making that brew to put in there. I also put certain crystals in there depending on what the intention is. And I spray every single tarot bag I have. Every single tarot bag has a stick of selenite. I do knock on every single deck to wake it up, to cleanse it, to reset it. Sometimes I do feel called to put them in the windowsill. Sometimes I do feel called to run them through the smoke, especially if I do have an incense going and I remember, hey, I've been using that tarot deck a lot. I should probably just run that through the smoke a little bit for a second. Doesn't take more than a second. You know, you can also, like, if you got a little incense holder like I do, you could put the tarot deck on top of the incense holder, set it and forget it, or put your jewelry on there while it's going, things like that. But I have one other thing, which is a super fun one, but is not accessible to everyone. So if you are very gifted visually in your head, okay, again, this is why I say this isn't for everybody, because I have been told by people along the way that they don't have a visual world inside of their head. I don't know what that's called. I know there's like a thing for that where you don't see anything in your head or you don't hear anything in your head. So this one's not for you, but for those of you who are very gifted visually in your head, can meditate very well, or are very gifted at meditation, things like that, connecting with your guides. If you're a little bit further along your practice and you're just looking for a new way to cleanse and charge your deck, you can hold the deck in your hands or put it on something. You can put it on the sigil, you can put it on the bag, you can put it on the windowsill, you could put it in the box, right? It doesn't matter. While you have this tarot deck encased in something, imagine it is being wrapped in a bubble. Okay? However you want to make that bubble work for you. Remember, intention is everything. Now, when I was taught this method, it was hold the tarot deck in your hands and imagine you are encasing it in a bubble of light. I know that the whole light thing doesn't work for everybody, but I imagine it kind of like as a car wash, right? Like one of those little car washes you run your car through. That to me makes more sense than a bubble of light, right? Or if you want to think about it as one of those like LED light phone cleansing things, you can always stick that in there. If you've got one of those, dude, throw your tarot deck in there. Why not? But, however the bubble works for you, imagine that it's being cleansed. Take the time to sit with it. Really sit with it. Visually imagine like muck coming off of those cards, off of the deck as a whole, in between each and every single card. You can even run your fingers through the cards while you're doing it. You can just draw a card, just flip through the deck like this while you're doing it, and imagine that as you are touching each card, they are being cleansed. You can say that out loud. As I'm touching each card, it is being cleansed. You can also reset your deck, which means putting it back in order. And as you are putting it back in order, imagine that it is being cleansed. Say that it's being cleansed. Give it the intention that when I reset the deck, when the deck is fully reset, it will be cleansed of any lingering energy that is not useful going forward, right? However you want to word it. Things like this are very helpful when it comes to bonding with your deck as well, because you are connecting with your deck in a telepathic, meditative type space. Again, I know this one isn't for everybody, but I feel like it's very important to throw out there, especially because this is a good practice. So if you guys are just beginning, this one might be a little frustrating for you, but it is good to continue to try to do this one at different points throughout your practice, because it is a very good practice to do, not only for the sake of bonding with your deck, but learning to observe energy in a meditative space in a telepathic sense, and how to manipulate that energy with intention, right? It's very helpful. And that being said, all of these methods will work for everybody differently, and you will find that the longer you are reading tarot in your practice, you will try all of them. I promise. Because tarot is like such a long journey. Reading tarot, you're going to be doing it for so long that you're going to get really bored of doing all the same things all the time. It just is. You're going to get bored of buying the same damn incense. For the past 3 years I've been buying the same incense and I'm tired of the smell, right? I don't want to keep smoke cleansing. Maybe you move to a new apartment and you can't smoke cleanse there. Maybe you have really judgy neighbors and you can't go outside and you need to use bells, or you have a new baby and you can't use sound anymore, things like that. So as your life changes, you will find that you're going to need different methods of cleansing, which is why I think it's important to compile a little list like this of methods of cleansing and charging your deck. And when it comes to reasons to charge your deck, I know a lot of people don't understand what I mean by that. Like, clearly cleansing is important because if you have any residual energy from like a really bad reading or really negative reading, or like a argument in the space or something, that could affect the clarity of the message. Although it will not affect the accuracy of the message, it will affect the clarity of your understanding of the message, which is why it's important to cleanse the deck. But when it comes to charging the deck, you have to understand that decks need energy, just like pendulums. So if you're the type of person that works with pendulums very easily, you know that you have to bond with your pendulum, you have to carry it around, you do have to feed it, things like that, cleansing as well. So when it comes to the deck, you can't just cleanse it and forget about it. It's the same as cleansing your space. You can't just cleanse it of negative energy and leave it alone. You have to cleanse the energy and then fill it with your intended energy, right? So That is why we charge the deck. You cleanse the deck, you charge the deck. You want to charge it with your intentions. So you can leave it with a type of charging stone if you would like. I have left decks with prophecy stones before. I have left decks with rose quartz and with labradorite. Like whatever calls to you, if you would like to do that, to charge it with something. If you found a really pretty rock outside that you really vibe with, that you really love so much, dude, set it on the deck. It will help ground that energy. It will help transmute it, especially if you are in communication with that rock. If you have plants, set it on the plant, set it in the pot. If you don't mind setting it in the pot, right? Especially if you're someone like me who does very heavily work with plants telepathically and otherwise, you can definitely ask your decks to help you, because the soil is a grounding way of transmuting that energy. So you can set it there and ask your plants to help you cleanse that deck and transmute that energy, things like that. I wouldn't say leave your deck outside unless you are a person who spends a lot of time outside and will keep an eye on it, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen to that deck outside. But yeah, if you have plants inside, especially if the pot is big enough, or if you want to put the little plant on top of it and ask it to do some work for you, or ask it to act as a representative or medium between you and Mother Gaia, and ask Mother Gaia to help you cleanse that deck, right? If you don't work with any spirits, but you feel very connected to Mother Gaia, you can do that. You can also ask your spirits to help you cleanse the deck and cleanse the energy of the space and things like that. But I just wanted to make a quick little video on this one because I feel like this doesn't get talked about as much as bonding with your deck. I feel like there are 5 million videos on how to bond with your deck. So if you are looking for one, I do have quite a few videos on that in my Tarot for Beginners playlist, and I'm sure you will find a whole lot more out in the world. I don't think bonding is the issue. I think cleansing is an issue because I feel like people over bond with their decks. And when you over bond with your deck, you still need to cleanse it. You still need to get your funky energy out of there, especially if you leave your decks in your room and you read in your room and you live in your room, right? Like I do. I do everything in my room. So yeah, sometimes my funky energy gets all mixed up in the decks, and then you start treating your deck like a roommate and you guys start having arguments and everybody's like, oh, my deck just has such a personality. No, baby, your deck is reflecting your energy. It's giving it right back to you. So if you guys made it to the end, please give me a big old thumbs up. You know, that helps me out so very much. Please let me know down below if any of these methods are new to you, if you will try any of them, or if any of these are tried and true for you, if you really like any of these. And also, please let your fellow beginners know down below if there's anything that I missed that has proven effective for you and very helpful, that are also low cost, no cost type of options. I always love learning about new things that I can try as well. And remember that all of these methods are not specific to tarot. You can use this for all of your tools, okay? For all of your divination tools. If you guys are using pendulums, runes, bones, whatever it is, you can use these methods for that as well. But I just happen to be a tarot channel, so I have focused this towards tarot specifically. But anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and wherever you are when this video reaches you, my friends, I hope that you have a beautiful, wonderful day, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Blessed be.